Hello everybody, welcome back to Hyper Lemon GT. Today we're going to be answering the question, is it quicker with traction control turned off or with traction control turned on? So I've read that some people say traction control turned off is a lot quicker. So let's put that to the test. We're going to be using the Porsche 911 GT3 RSR at the Interlagos circuit in Brazil for this test. Basically I know both the car and the circuit reasonably well, so I'm not going to be spending time learning the circuit, just comparing traction control off versus on. I can be quite consistent with the lap times. Okay, so a quick demonstration. Traction control turned off, big wheel spin. Traction control turned on, zero wheel spin. Okay, so coming out of the first corner, well the last corner, traction control turned off for our first lap. So coming down the pit straight, of course traction control won't be being used here as going a lot very quickly, a lot of downforce, and the torque is not being multiplied by the gearbox at this point. Okay, coming into the first corner, keeping it tight, managing the throttle a bit on the exit there, to ensure we don't get any wheel spin. Fairly clean exit. Okay, so I'll go down the straight, and coming up to this corner, got to hit the apex, and run out a little bit wide, hit this rumble strip, and then bring it back in. So as you can see, it was relatively uneventful, just put full throttle on and no wheel spin at all. Okay, so now we're coming into the slower section of the circuit. This should be where traction control is used a bit more. So on the exit you can see a bit of wheel spin, but as the car was already straightened up, the wheel spin didn't really cause any problems. Now into the second hairpin. Get the throttle on, have to be a bit patient. Again, we get some wheel spin, and then managing the throttle a bit around that corner. Now the final corner, hit the apex, and I find I have to be really patient on the throttle for that last corner. But got the throttle on nice and smoothly, so we didn't get any wheel spin. So one of the keys to having to controlling a car with traction control turned off is don't get on the power too early, and try to be smooth on the throttle application. Don't just kind of jab it on. Okay, so coming into first corner, don't have to manage the throttle so much. You can see traction control was managing a little bit for me there, and at the moment about 1/10 of a second up. So I turned the ghost car off because that distracts me quite a lot. This corner, hit the apex, run out wide onto the rumble strip. As you can see, traction control is engaged again a little bit there, but I don't think it slowed us down too much. So at the moment up by about 1/10 of a second. Now coming into the slow speed stuff where we got some wheel spin before. So this time you can see traction control was managing the wheel spin, and it does look like we've lost a bit of time, so 2/10 down now. So did I just take a bad line, or was that traction control really slowing us down? And again, out of the second hairpin, you can see traction control has been engaged again, and now it looks like we lost a bit more time from that. Now the last corner, you can get on the throttle quite a lot earlier. I was really leaning on the traction control that time, and yeah, it does look like it gained some time out of that last corner with the traction control turned on. So coming up to the line, it's 2/10 of a second slower than with traction control turned off, but let's do another lap just to see if we can beat the first lap time. Okay, so at the moment 2/10 of a second up, so that's quite a lot actually for one corner. Now coming into this corner again, hit the apex, run out wide onto the curb. You could see I got a little bit sideways there, and traction control did step in, straighten the car up for me. But it looks like it didn't lose any time from that. So at the moment, 3.5 tenths up, and into this tight corner, traction control kicking in again, and now 2 tenths. So maybe we lost about 1/10 of a second there. And into the second hairpin, traction control kicking in, and now about 2 tenths up. So looks like lost about 1/10 of a second per hairpin. And then that last corner, it gained quite a lot of time. I'm trusting the traction control a bit more, and it's managing the wheel spin. So 4/10 of a second up now, which is, yeah, it's quite a lot actually. So traction control turn on this time is quicker. So I'm going to do one more lap with traction control turned off, just to see if we can beat that best time of 1:32.4. So at the moment, pretty much on par with traction control on time, 1/2 tenth difference. And I mean, from what I can see up to now is traction control is not really slowing me down at all. It's about on par. So 1/2 tenth still. Can we beat traction control time? Into the hairpin. So see, gain a little bit of time there. So I think traction control does slow you down in that slow speed corner. And on this hairpin, again, a little bit of time gained. So I think, conclusion, what we can see up to now is traction control is slowing you down on the slow speed stuff, but is actually helping on the medium speed stuff. So this time it's going to be really very close. But yeah, so if you want to go for the ultimate lap, let's say you want to turn traction control on for medium speed and traction control off for low speed corners. So at the end of the lap, 1/2 tenth difference, which is basically nothing. Yeah, so people who drive with traction control turned on, you're not at any disadvantage. Keep driving it with it turned on, and you're not slowing yourself down. So now I'm just going to try something ridiculous with traction control turned off. So just really turn in quite sharply and keep the power on, and spin very easily. So now let's try a similar thing with traction control turned on. Turning in super sharply, power planted, and yeah, the traction control is like really managing that quite nicely. Traction control turned off, and then boom, spin around. So traction control seems to add quite a bit in terms of like the safety, or let's say the backup, because if you do something a bit stupid, then the traction control is going to actually save you. Whereas if you do something stupid with traction control turned off, you're going to spin and you're going to lose basically a lot of time. So I think there's the conclusion. Traction control turned on is not really any quicker than traction control turned off. If you want the ultimate lap time, turn traction control on for medium speed corners and off for low speed corners. And if you're just doing a lot of laps and you want to have like a safety net there, keep traction control turned on, because you're not losing any time, but there is that safety net there, so it's going to help you if you make a mistake. So I think that was a fairly good conclusion. Now I'm just going to put the replay on. So I think this livery on this car looks absolutely awesome. Some guy has spent many hours, I guess, creating this livery and then putting it online, making it available to everybody. So it's basically a classic Rotherham's 90, well, it's usually I think on a prototype Porsche from the 1970s or 1980s, and he's updated it a bit, put it on a 911, added some modern sponsorship on there like Porsche design, and added the Porsche 70th anniversary sticker as well. So it looks super nice. So I'm just gonna stop talking now and let you guys just watch this awesome livery and awesome car.